Have you ever wondered how keyboard shortcuts are implemented inside an app or a website? What if you could control your entire app without ever reaching for your mouse, just using shortcuts? Imagine crafting a lightning-fast command menu that responds instantly to shortcuts, just like Notion, Raycast, or Spotlight. In this tutorial, I'll guide you through building a sleek, high-performance command dialog using Next.js with Tailwind CSS and shadcn UI, complete with smooth animations and effortless keyboard navigation. Whether you are designing an admin panel, dashboard, or simply want a frictionless user experience, this will take your skill to the next level. In this tutorial, we'll implement a shortcut to open our dialog window. For example, you can see that we have press Command or Control K to open or close the dialog window. If I press Control K, I'll have this dialog window with beautiful icons. For instance, if I click on, let's say, navigation, it should take me to the navigation page. Great. And you should see that it has taken us to our /path forward navigation. Beautiful. The same is also going to happen. We can even click on profile. If you click on profile, it should take you to /profile, the profile page. This is beautiful. We can open and close the dialog command window using just this command, Control K. Alternatively, I can even search for a menu item here. For example, I can even search for revenue. Great. And you can see I'm having revenue here. What if I search for something that is not there? Great. We have a message here that no result found, try something else. In this tutorial, we'll create all this from scratch. Alright, let us dive in. Welcome to the first part of a tutorial. We'll start by first searching for Node.js, and then you can just click on this one here. So you want to first ensure that you have Node.js installed by downloading it. Great. The next thing you have to ensure is that you have at least a version of 18 and above. We can check via the command prompt. Therefore, you can just look for Cmd, and then you can check the version of Node.js. So you can do node -v. Great. And you can see, as for me, I have Node version 21.7.3. Great. The next thing you want to do is to actually look for Next.js. You can move inside your browser and search for Next.js, like this one here. Then click on it, and then we're going to click here, Get Started. Great. And then we move here to installation, click on installation, and then we have completed this, the first system requirement, which is a Node version of at least version 18.18. Great. The next thing, we're going to actually use automatic installation. And then you can just copy this and then open your Visual Studio Code. But before opening our Visual Studio Code, we need to create a folder that will be used to actually run the project. So you can just move here inside these three dots, then terminal, and then new terminal. Great. Inside the terminal, I'm going to collapse this. I'm going to provide a command that is going to create a new file or a new folder. So you can just type mkdir command mastery. We're going to name our folder command mastery, and you can just press enter. If you see something like this, that means it is a success. The next thing we want to ensure is we want to cd inside the same folder. So you can just cd like that, and then we need to actually copy the command that we had copied for creating a Next.js project. If you are unsure about it, you can just go back and copy this command. Great. Then you can move inside this terminal. Then we need to paste this command here. Great. This is going to ensure that we install the latest version of Next.js. Then at the end, you can just put a space, then a dot. This makes sure that the project will be created inside this folder here. Then you can just press enter. As of making this tutorial, you can see the latest version of Next.js is version 15.2.4. Then you can just press enter. We're also going to be using TypeScript. Therefore, you can select TypeScript, slint yes, and Tailwind CSS. We're not going to use the source directory. We're also going to use the app router and turbopack yes. And you can just leave the rest as default. If you see this message success, that means our project has been created successfully. Congratulations. I have a notification here that I need to update my npm, but it's not necessary. The next thing we want to do, we want to actually open this project inside our Visual Studio Code. We can do it simply by just doing this command, code space then dot. Great. This one is going to open up a new window with the project that we have just created. And you can see we have a new VS Code window. Therefore, I'm going to delete the previous window and just remain with this window here. Great. We can see that we have this project, command mastery, and we have everything here. Great. We can also just do something simple here. We can just run this project to ensure that everything is working correctly by using this command. We can just type npm run dev. Then you need to press enter. Oops, we need to ensure that we are inside this folder first. Therefore, I'm just going to clear the terminal. Then we have to cd command mastery. Great. And then you can just type npm run dev. Great. All right. We can see that we've been given a URL that our project is running on localhost 3000. And also you've also been given an IP address here. But the most important thing is this URL here, localhost 3000. You can just move inside your browser and enter this URL. So you can copy this and paste inside your browser. So you can just type localhost 3000. This one is going to run our project. Great. This is the project that we have, and it's just a boiler template that you can work with. If you've reached here, congratulations, you have finished up setting up your project. We can move it back inside our project, and then we need to just reduce our project to a bare minimum. So you can move inside your app folder, because we will be mostly working inside this app folder. Then inside page.tsx, I'm going to collapse this. Then we need to collapse this div. So you can just collapse the div and delete it, then create another div. All right, we can just do home page like this. Great. Then we're not going to have an image, therefore we can just delete this image. Great. And I'm going to enclose this home page inside a h1 tag. So I'm going to cut and paste here. Great. And just to check whether Tailwind CSS is working, you can provide some class name. So you can just do class name. You can even say text for Excel. And we want the text to be center. You can even provide a color. For example, you can say text yellow, and you can provide a value like 400 or 500. Then we want the text to be center. Great. Let us check in our browser. Beautiful. That means our Tailwind is working correctly and we have everything configured correctly. This has just been the setup process. Another cool thing you can notice is that we have a turbo pack here, or an icon here for troubleshooting. So you can see we have a turbo pack and you can disable it. If you want to disable this, you can click on preferences, and then you can just disable it. Great job. After doing that, we need to install something else known as command. So you can just move here on these three dots, or you can move here on top, three dots, and then terminal. We need a new terminal. Great. Now we have two terminals running. So we actually have two terminals. The first one is for the project that is running, and the second one will be used to actually install what we need. So we are going to have to use Lucid React. So you can just do npm if Lucid React. So I can be used for installation, or you can just use install. Both of them is accepted. Oops, again, we need to ensure that we are inside the project or inside the folder. So we need to cd the folder that we are working with, and then we can just do npm I Lucid React. Great job. You can see that we do not have any vulnerabilities and Lucid React has been installed correctly. We're going to use command from shadcn in our project. You can move inside your browser and then you can just search for command. Great. And we want to select this one here, command shadcn UI. Great. The next thing we have to do is we want to implement something like this, but ours will be more beautiful. Another thing we're also going to do, we're going to implement keyboard shortcuts. Great. The next thing we need to do is actually do this, go to installation here, and we need to pick our framework. we are using Next.js. Therefore, select Next.js. You can see we have different types of framework that you can select, but ensure that you pick Next.js because this is our framework. Great. Then you just need to follow the steps. We have this step, npx shadcn at latest init. So therefore, I'm just going to copy this, and then inside the terminal, ensure that you're within this folder, command mastery. Great. Then you can just copy the command npx shadcn init. And when you see something like this, do not worry. This is okay because you're using the latest version of React. Therefore, you can just use force. Beautiful. You can see that it is a success and it has been initialized. We need to check the next step. Therefore, we can just move here, and then you can see this is the usage. But actually, you do not have to move to this step here because you're not going to use a button. Or maybe if you're going to use it, then you're going to add it. Great. Then we need to go back, and then we need to select command. This one here. This is the one that we are going to use in this project. So you can see, for instance, you can search something like billing. You can search something like emoji. Great. But ours is going to be more beautiful. We're going to style them using Lucid React. Great. Let us go and see the installation process. We need to copy this command npx shadcn at latest. Therefore, we can just click here. And then you need to press to copy it inside our terminal. I'm going to move it up, and then just ensure you have that command, and then press enter. All right, congratulations. If you see this, we have installed command, and also another component that has been installed automatically is the dialog. Now, where are these components installed? To verify the installation, you can just move inside here and then click on not actually lib, but components folder. We have a components folder here, and then you can just see that we have command.tsx and dialog.tsx. These files have already been created for us. Great job. You need to move inside the page.tsx. I'm going to mark this component as client. If you can just do this, say use client. It's going to be a client component. Great. I'm going to delete this div because it was just for actually testing purposes. Not this div, but this h1. So you can delete this one also. It was just for testing whether Tailwind is working. Great. Inside it, we're going to have command. If you need to, you can just do command like this. But we are going to have this command from the one that we've just installed, shadcn UI. So you can do this. Great. But we need to import it. So you can import it here at the top. So you can just do import. So as to resolve this error, import, we're going to import command. You can just do this, import command. But when you notice, you can see we have command from Cmd K, from Lucid React. We want this one here from components UI command. Great, this one here. The folder convention that we are using, instead of using ... as you can see here, we are moving inside the components folder. So instead of just saying ... component, we are using the alias @. Great. Also ensure that this command is capital C. So you can just do capital C. Great. Let us provide some styling to this command. If you can just do a class name, you can just say maximum. We are providing the maximum width, and you can also provide the width in pixels. If we can just define here, for instance, 400 pixels. Great. And I think we can provide also a border radius. So you can just do a rounded, and it's going to be rounded LG. It's also going to have a shadow, and finally a background of white. So you can just do a BG white. Great. Inside it, we're going to have a command. We need to have a command input. So you can just ensure that we are starting the capital C, command input, and we need to provide a placeholder for that. So when you have command input like this, ensure that it's not actually from Cmd K. Let me delete this. Let me import it here. So you can do this command input. As you can see, we have a list here. So you can just select command input. Great. And the input, we can just provide a placeholder. We can just do this placeholder. We can just write something here. For example, enter a command, and enter a command or a search. Great. The next thing that we need is a command list. So you can just move below the command input and you can have the command list. But before we call it, let us import it here at the top. So you can just do a comma and then you can just type command list. Great. You can see we have it here. Beautiful. Let us just call it here. So command list like that. Great. Inside the command list, we need to provide a command that whenever we have a search command and we do not have that specific search phrase, the message that it should display. The way we do it is we're going to call a function called command empty. Therefore, you can just import here at the top. So you can just say command empty. Great. Then we need to call it here inside the command list. You can just do command empty like that. It's a self-closing tag, and inside it, you need to provide the message, or rather not a self-closing, but can do this. Great. Inside it, you need to provide, for example, we can say no results found. Great. That means whenever we search a value that is, we're going to get a message that no results found. Great. Let us visualize it. So you can just move inside your browser and inside localhost 3000. Great. And we have something like this. Let us provide some styling for this. You can just go back, then provide styling for this command input. So after this placeholder, you can just come here at the end before closing it, and then you can just do a class name. We're going to have this border. So you can just do border. And then you're also going to have a padding in the X direction. Okay. And also a padding in the Y direction of 2 pixels. Great. One other thing that you can notice is that I want to style this one so that it can be at the center. It's not at the center. What we can do, we can just move inside this main div here, this one here. And then you can provide some styling. If we can just do a class name, display will be flex. We can just say flex, and then direction will be column. So you can just do a flex col, and we also want the items to be center. Great. Let us also provide a margin top. So you can just do a margin top of 12 and also a space in the Y direction of 4 pixels. Great. Let us see how it looks. Beautiful. You can see we have this. It's actually styled at the center. The next thing, you're going to render the individual items of the command. But before we do that, we need to provide some command groups. For example, you can have commands related to settings. You can have commands related to profile. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a very easy manner. Great. Let me add some comments here. If I can just say main menu, you're going to understand how it's going to assist us in this. Great. Let us have a command group. Therefore, this command group is going to be to relate all the menu items that will involve the main menu. So you can just say command group, but before we call it, let us import here at the top. So you can just do a comma, and then you can have command group. Great. Then you need to call it here. You can just do command group. Beautiful. Inside this command group, you're going to render each individual child. So, or each individual menu item. We need to provide a heading for these command groups. It takes a prop known as heading. So you can just do heading, and you're going to name it main menu. Main menu. All right, let's see how it looks. When we open our browser, we can see we have the main menu here. Great. Let us provide some items below it. So you can just do this. We're going to call a command item. You can just call the command item. You can see we have some suggestion here. I'm going to accept this one, command item. Inside this command item, we can just provide anything that you want. For example, I can just say home. Let us see how it looks. So you can move inside the browser. All right, and we have this text home here. All right, you can see we have a menu here. It's not beautiful, but this is just for demonstration. I can also add another command item here. Let me just copy this and let me do this. So the second one I'm going to call, let's say we can even have navigation. We can just do navigation here. Let us see how it looks. All right, you can see this is just a group of related commands, and the heading is main menu, and we can have home. You can also have navigation, and this is basically what we're going to do. We can also provide another, let's say we can also provide another command group, and you can give it a different name. For example, let me just duplicate this. This is just for demonstration. I'm going to delete this later. Great. And let me change this one, the second one, from main menu, let's say, to settings. Great. Let us see it in practice. You can just move inside our application, and you can see we have a main menu, and we have 2 items, and we also have settings, and we have 2 items. Beautiful. But this is just for demonstration. So a command group has individual menu items that are related to it. You can have as many as you want. Let me just delete this. So I'm going to delete the second one that I've just copied, this second command group. Let us work with the first command group first. And I'm also going to delete, also, let's say, let me just delete this home. Great. Or let me just actually just leave it first, and let us provide some styling. All right. You need to provide some styling to make it look beautiful. So inside the first command item, you can provide a class name. So you can just do a class name like this. Padding in the X direction will be 3, and also padding in the Y direction will be 2. Great. And then you can also provide a hover. So you can provide a color change. You can even say, you can just give it a color that you want. But for me, I want BG gray and a value, let's say, of 200. Great. And I want the cursor to be pointer. So whenever we hover, I want the cursor to be pointer. So you can just do cursor hyphen, then pointer like that. All right, let us have a look at it. So you can just move back, and you can see the settings as it is actually changed. And you can see whenever I hover around it, the cursor has changed to pointer. This is beautiful. I'm also going to change this one from home, or rather you can just leave it, and then we're going to have a home icon from Lucid React. So you can just come here, and then command item. The command item here is not from Cmd K. So let me delete this. It is from UI command. Therefore, you can just do this command item like this. Great. Ensure that you have this. It's not from any other source. Beautiful. And just on top here, I'm going to do an import. If I'm going to import a home icon from Lucid React. All right, you can see we have a suggestion here. We can import this home icon from Lucid React. Beautiful. We have the home icon, and we can also use the home icon here. So inside the first home here, or the first command item, we can call this icon. So you can just do home icon. Great. Beautiful. Therefore, we have this home icon. I have not styled it, but let us just have a look on how it looks. All right, beautiful. We have a home icon associated with this home here. This is beautiful. Great job. If you're not seeing this home icon, that means you have not installed Lucid React. But if you followed everything as I have shown you, you should not have any problem. One thing with Lucid React, the way we style these icons, we just style them like text. For example, if you want to change a color, I can even say class name, and then you style it like text, and you can provide, for example, we can just say home blue. For instance, this is just for example. So you can just say text blue, and you can provide a value, for example, 700. So text blue 700, and this one should change the way our icon looks like. Beautiful. You can see the icon has changed. This is beautiful. Great. Let us work on the second item here. So we can also ensure that since these are menu items, we can just ensure that we start with the capital letters like that. Beautiful. The second item is not going to be navigation, but you can just leave it for navigation since this is just demonstration. So we can import also navigation from Lucid React. We can just do this navigation, and we want to import from Lucid React. So you can see we have a lot of suggestions, but let me just pick navigation icon. Great. And let me call it here on the second command item. I can just do navigation icon. Great. Beautiful. As you can see, we also have this navigation icon. I'm also going to copy the stylings of the first command item. But before I copy these stylings, let us just see on how it looks. So you can see you have navigation icon. Wow, this looks good. So let me copy the first stylings, for example, from here's class name, and I'm also going to paste it inside the second command item here. So you can just do inside it, and it's also going to have the same stylings. And sure you copy it inside the opening of the command item here. Great. Let us see how it looks. Beautiful. You can see on both of them, when we hover, we can see we have a change in color. Let me also change this color of the navigation. So I can just do this and just come here, and as I've told you that Lucid React, you style them as text. Therefore you can just come here on navigation icon, then you can just do a class name. You can provide a green color, so you can just do a text green, and you can select an intensity that you want. For instance, I'm going to select a value of, let's say, 500, and let us check. This color should change. This is beautiful. You can see that we have the color has changed to green. This is great. To provide adequate spacing for these icons, you can just do a margin right of 2, but it's optional. You don't have to do this. So I'm also going to provide a margin right of 2 so that you can have a spacing between the icon and the name. Let us see on how it looks. Great. We can see that we have a decent spacing between the icon and the name. Great job. But you don't have to do it. We're also going to have another command item. So I'm going to copy this. And the second one is going to be for, let's say, calendar. Instead of navigation icon, I'm going to have a calendar. But before I change it, let me just import it here. So you can just do a calendar icon. Great. And we have the calendar icon. So you can just do a calendar like that. And then we need to change this one from navigation icon to calendar. Great. Another thing we need to change is from this text navigation, we can even do a calendar. Beautiful. Let's navigate inside our project and let us see how it looks. You can also see that the calendar has a green color. But let me change the color of the calendar so that we can have a distinctive look. You can have, let's say, an amber like that. Beautiful. Let me just check and see. So you're going to see a color like this. This is beautiful. We have different colors with a different icon. Great. Let us add another item. For example, you can just do this. I'm going to copy this again, and we're going to have another one for calculator, or we can even say calculations. It doesn't matter. Great. And the icon is going to be calculator. Before we change it, let us import it. So you can just come here, and you're going to import a calculator icon. You can just do like that. Beautiful. And then you can just come here, and then we need to change to calculator. So you can just do calculator icon. Great job. And when we open our browser, we should also see calculations here. We can also change this color. I don't want it to match the calendar icon, and you can just come here from text amber like this. You can provide another color. For instance, you can have, let's say, a blue color or even a pink. This is just for demonstration. Great job. And when we hover back, we should see that the color has changed to green. And this is taking shape very well. And this is the way we're going to implement a modern menu that has these beautiful icons in your project. Great. Let us provide another command group. This command group has been for main menu. Let me just copy it twice. All right. Then you can just do this. Okay. We're going to have, and then let me just change the heading to settings. So you can have settings like this. Great. So you can just ensure settings starts with capital S. And you also need to ensure main menu starts with capital M. It's not necessary. It's just for aesthetic purposes. All right. So I've just duplicated the first command group. Let us see how it looks. can just check. All right, this is good. You can see we also have the setting icon, the settings, but we have this, but we don't want this for settings. Let us do actually something different, or use something different. So inside the command items, let us have something like profile. So the first one, instead of home, we can have a profile. And I'm going to have a user icon for the profile. But before we use it, let us import it. You can just come here at the top, and then you just need to import the user. For example, you can just do a user icon. You can experiment with any of this. For example, I'm just going to say user2, and let us see how it's going to look like. Great. And I'm also going to change this one here. So for instance, let me just delete all this because we do not need them. Let us just remain with the profile here. Great. So after deleting this, you need to change this home icon. So you can just come from our home icon to user, the one that we have imported above, user2. Great. All right, and let us see how it looks. So it looks beautiful. We have a profile. So this one can be, for instance, if you have a case that you want to use this inside your project, you can provide this user icon. And you can also do, let's say, a variation. Instead of user2, you can even have user1. As you can see, we had a lot of let's say, use cases. We also have a user2 icon. Let us experiment with this and see how it looks like. So you can have user2 icon also here. Ensure that you change also here so that you don't have an error. Great. Let us see how it looks. Right. I don't think there's any big difference with it. It just looks the same. Great. Let us add some more items. So you can just move back. I'm going to copy this command item, and then you can just paste it here. Beautiful. And inside it, we can have something else. For example, we can have a revenue like that. And for revenue, we're going to also have a different icon. For example, you can have a $sign. So you can just come here and import $sign. I'm going to import $sign and just do this $sign. Great. And we have a $sign icon and a $sign. So let me just use a $sign icon. Great. And inside it, I'm going to change this one here from user2 icon to $sign. Beautiful. So you can just do a $sign here icon. Great. Ensure that it's a $sign icon. We can also change the color. For example, the user can remain as blue, but for $, I don't know what is the best color, but blue is not the best color. We can have, let's say, let me just pick something like red. This is just for testing purposes. All right. You can see that we have a revenue here and the icon here. One beautiful thing is that we can search here. For example, if you have a very long list, you can just do revenue, and beautiful, we have revenue here. We can also search for something else, but let us see if we search for something. Let's say, great, you can see we have this message, no results found. This is the message that we had set earlier. For example, if we look here on the top, we can see that we have this message, no results found. We can even add another message. You can just say, try something else. Great. Let us see it. And you can also refresh. How beautiful. We have no result found. Try something else. Beautiful. Another thing that we want to implement is the shortcut keys. I want us to actually see how we can implement a shortcut to open and close this dialog box. Great. Let us move inside our project, and we can just first come here on top. We're going to declare a variable. We're going to use useState. Therefore, we can just do import, and we're importing useState from React. We can just do useState. UseState is going to manage the state of the dialog box when we open it and also when we close it. Beautiful. Another thing you're going to have is the use effect. So you can also import it, use effects. Great. These are the only two things that we need. And then when you come inside this function here, home, you can drop it, just drop it. And then just before you reach the return function, we need to declare a variable, and we can just give it a very simple name like open. And you can see we have a suggestion here. which is correct. Actually, if you want this suggestion, I'm going to accept it and then I'll explain to you. But instead of accepting, let me just delete this because I want to do everything from scratch. All right, but if you want this suggestion, you can just move here inside the extensions and you can search something like Beto. Beautiful. And when you have Beto, you can install it. It's going to provide some AI auto completion of your code. Great. So when we already have an open and a function to open the dialog box. And in TypeScript, we need to provide this this constant that you have declared here. And the way you do it, you can just do using this fragment. You can just do this, and then we need to provide the type as Boolean. Beautiful. So we have these constants are of type Boolean. So if you're working with TypeScript, it is necessary you do this. Beautiful. The next thing, you're going to declare a use effect function that is going to open and also regulate the closing and opening of this dialog box. So we can even say use effect. We can just call use effect. Ensure that you have imported it here above, and you can see we have a suggestion. Let me accept this and explain it to you. We have an input here. So we have declared a function called down, and we have an input here, which is of type keyboard event. Great. And then we are checking if the input is letter K, or so we need to check two things. Is it coming from the Windows K or the E control? So we want to check if the event is coming from the Windows computer or the Mac OS computer. So you can just say if it's coming from the Windows computer, we are going to have control K, and if it's coming from the the Mac OS computer, we are going to have a command. Great. Nice. And then we want to prevent the default behavior, and we are calling this function set open, this function here above, and we are changing the state. So therefore, we are taking open, and you can see that open is a Boolean, just as we had declared here, and then we are flipping the state. If it's open, we are going to close it. Beautiful. And then we are going to add an event listener. So the event listener is going to be a key down, and whenever we have this event listener, we want to call this function down, the one that we have declared here above. And then finally, we are going to provide a cleanup function and remove the event listener. So it's very necessary that you perform a cleanup function. And finally, you do not have any dependencies inside the array. Great job. One key takeaway is that in macOS computer, we are using a command, and in Windows computer, we are using the control key. So we are having the control key. Great. All right, we have finished with that function, and the next thing we just need to move inside this div here. And then you can just drop it down a bit, and then we can have another div. Therefore, we can just do a div like this. And I can also provide some comments. So I can even say this one is for keyboard shortcut. So you can just say keyboard shortcuts. This one is not necessary, but you can do it. And then we need to provide some styling to this div. So you can just do a class name, and we just want the text to be center. Great. The next thing we're going to render is a p tag. Therefore, you can just come here and render a p tag from native HTML. Inside the p tag, we can just say press, and to ensure that there is a space, you can use this. This is a React way of doing it, or a JavaScript way of doing it, to ensure that we have some spacing. Then you can just say press, and inside it, we're going to call the keyboard tag. So therefore, the keyboard tag, so it is KBD. This one is also from native HTML. Inside the span, before we have anything, inside the keyboard tag, we can have a span. The span is also from native HTML. Inside here, we can just say, can even just do a command or control. Alternatively, if you have, let's say if you have an icon, you can use it here. You can just place it here. After the span, we can have J. Therefore, we need to control J. But I don't think it's J, it's actually K. So we need to have a control K. Beautiful. And we're also going to have this. So to ensure we have a space, we can do it the JavaScript way. You can copy this, and then we are telling the user Control or Command K to, let's say, open the command window. Great. So we can just add to open the command window. Beautiful. The next thing I think is just to provide some styling to this. You can provide some styling to this p tag, which is the paragraph. You can do a class name. We're going to have a small text, therefore we can just do a text sm, and the text color is going to be gray, therefore you can just do a text gray of, let's say, 600. You can pick any value that you want, but I think 600 will do for me. Let us also provide some styling to this keyboard tag, therefore you can just do class name, and inside it we're going to have inline flex. Great. And we also want the items to be center. If we can just do items center like that. We are going to have a gap of 1. It's also going to be rounded. We're also going to have a border. And we're also going to provide, we can even provide a background color. For instance, you can say BG gray, and you can provide a value like 100. You can also provide a padding in the X direction, and also a padding in the Y direction of 1. Great. And we can even do a font, let's say a font of mono. I think that will do. The next thing we have to do is actually, when you move inside your browser, you can see that nothing has happened. But the only thing we have is you can press Ctrl K to open the command window. But we want to hide this first, so that whenever we press Ctrl K, it's going to pop up this. So you can just move back. To implement that, we need to wrap everything inside a command dialog. So you can just check outside this div, or wherever we have this command here, the starting part, you can just come above it, and then we can provide something else known as command dialog. But before we call it, let me just call it above here. So you can just do a command dialog like that. Beautiful. And then we can just call it here. Great. You can just do a command dialog. And then I'm going to delete this part, the closing part, and I'm going to wrap my application with it. Not actually the application, but everything related to this command. So you can just come here just after this command, and then you can copy it like that. Beautiful. The next thing we need to do is provide some props to this command dialog. So you can just provide, text in some props, for example, open, and the value is going to be dynamic. So you can use this, and you're going to use the open value that we have just declared above here. Great. This one here, open. Great. The next thing is going to take a function, and the function is called onOpenChange. Great. And on OpenChange, we're going to pass in a function that is going to regulate opening and closing of the dialog menu. And the function is this one here, the setOpen, the one that we had declared, this function here. So we can just call it here inside it, which is also dynamic. Great. setOpen like that. Beautiful. And when we close, we open our application, the dialog should not be visible. All right, let us open our application and see. Whenever we open application, we can see we have this. So we have, you can press Command or Control K to open the dialog, to open the command window. You can see the way I've styled it, the command, this section here. If I had an icon, I could just replace at this part, but I don't think it's necessary since this is just for demonstration. What I'm going to do, I'm going to actually press in my computer Control K since I'm using Windows. So I can just do Control K. Beautiful. And we have this pop-up that has displayed here. I can also close it, so you can close it like that. So we can open it, and we can also close it. So I think I should also add to open the command window. So I should add to open or close the command window. You need that. Great. It's not necessary, but I think just for the purpose of aesthetics, we can add it. So to open or close, so that we can know that Control K performs both of these functions. Great. And let me just go back to my application. When I press Control K, I'm having that. When I press Control K, it disappears. Nice, and we have that. The final thing I think we need to implement is maybe use links for these items, because if we're not able to link this, let's say home, navigation, calendar, calculation, I don't think we'll be actually meeting the purpose of this tutorial. Great. Let me just move it back. So how do we ensure that whenever we click, let's say home, it's going to take us to home, and navigation is going to take us to navigation? Great. In Next.js 15, the way we do it, you can just come inside the app folder and then right click. I'm going to create a new folder and we can call it navigation. Great. And to make this folder a page, what I can do, I can just create a new file inside it and I can name it page.tsx since I'm using TypeScript. Inside it, I can just do RFCE like that. Great. And inside it, you can just say I am in navigation. All right. You can even say I'm a navigation path like that. Beautiful. So for instance, if you have your code functionality inside this navigation, you can do like this. You just need to create this page and then we need to link it up. Great. And to link it up is actually pretty simple. We need to import link from next link. So you can just come here at the top and you need to import the link. You can just do this import. Great. We're importing link from next link. Great. Ensure that it is from next link. And we're going to wrap our navigation component using that link. So you can just come here and find where your navigation is. Great. We have our navigation here. Let me just provide some spacing so that it can become more clear. All right. I have separated the navigation. This is the navigation part. The main thing we need to do is inside this navigation icon, we need to wrap it using the link. Therefore, I'm just going to have here a link like that. And inside it, I'm going to copy everything. Therefore, I can just drop it first like that. And then I'm going to cut this one here from navigation up to the navigation icon. So you can just do like that. Great. The next thing we need to provide is the href value. So you can just do href is not dynamic. It's just a path. So you can just say /navigation. Beautiful. So ensure that the naming of this navigation is exactly the same as the way we have named our folder here. Great. So it's just navigation like that. And you need to press Ctrl S and let us check inside the application. Let me click this navigation here and it should take us to that page. All right. Let me open the command window. I'm going to press Ctrl K. Great. Let us click on this navigation. Beautiful. You can see that we have been directed in a new page, localhost 3000/navigation, that says I am a navigation path. You can even style this one so that it can look more good, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So you can have, let's say, the content of navigation here, but let us just provide some just basic styling. So you can just say text, even for Excel, and something bigger, and we want the text to be at the center, so you can just say text center. You can also provide a color like, let's say, green, and you can provide a color of 950 like that. Great. Let us see how it looks. Perfect. So we have this one here, which is a navigation path. Actually, this one is a very deep green. We can use a value of 300. I think that one looks good. And when we refresh, you should see a green color here. Beautiful. We have a navigation path. And you can do the same for all other paths that we want to work with. Great. And you can do the same for all these submenu items. For example, you can even do for profile. So let us just do for profile. You can come here inside app. Inside the app directory, you're going to create a new folder. We're going to name it profile. So you can just do new folder. Then you can just call it profile like that. Inside this profile, to make it a page, we just need to create a new file and you can just say page.tsx. Great. Inside it, you can just provide a short form RFCE. Great. And inside it, you can just call it a profile page. Beautiful. You can also provide some stylings. You can just do a class name. You can even say text 5 Excel. And we also want the text to be center. So if we can just do text center like that, and you can also provide some color. For instance, we can even use yellow and a value of, let's say, 500. Beautiful. Or 400 will do. Great. So we have, this is the profile page. Let us also create some other pages. For example, we can create a page for, let me just go back and check. Let's click, create another one for revenue. You can create all of this, but let me just create 3 of them for actually to make you understand everything. So a new folder, inside the app, new folder, and we can just call it revenue. Inside it, you're going to create a new file to actually make it a page and call it page.tsx. We're going to have a short form RFCE, and we can say I am a revenue page. So you can just even do a H1 like that and say I'm a revenue page. Beautiful. Then you can provide the same stylings. You can just do class name of text 5XL. This one will be larger. And we want the text to be center. Therefore, you can just do text center. And can also provide a color, for example, red. Can provide a value like 400, like that. Beautiful. We have created revenue and profile. We need to link them in our application. So you can just move back inside page.tsx. Let us first link the profile. So just before this profile icon, we need to create some space. So you can just above it, and then you're going to call link. And I'm going to cut this and paste it inside. Great. You can just do that. And inside it, you need to provide a href. It's not going to be dynamic. And then you can just say /profile. Just ensure that this profile name here matches exactly as this. So if you're using capital letters here, ensure that also your folder starts with capital letters. We're also going to do the same for revenue. So we can just come here inside the revenue, just above this $sign icon, we can have also link. And I'm going to cut this and then paste it inside. So you can do for the rest of them, but I'm doing the 3 only so that you can do the rest for yourself. Great. Then you see inside here, we can just have /revenue, exactly as we have named this folder. This is beautiful. We need to open our application. Great. Let me open this, and I can just do Control K. And whenever we click profile, it should take us to the profile page. Let us see. Beautiful. We can see that we have this I am a profile page. Let us go back and also test for revenue. We can just do Control K again, then just move for revenue here. I have actually zoomed this, but you can also zoom if you want for actually us to see it clearly. Let me click on revenue. After clicking revenue, we can also see this, that it has taken us to /localhost 3000 local revenue. Great. And we have actually implemented everything in a very easy and simple manner. If you enjoy this content, then share, you like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching.